Okay.
And as you see people arriving, and we're fixing it, and I'm getting everybody here.
Well, so what will I see to remind me that I'm going to
Up
go
in the top right-hand corner, you'll see numbers going up.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right, and there's Bonnie.
Hi, Bonnie. I don't know if you can see me, but I can't.
And there she is. And I'm going away, and I'm sending.
Okay.
Hi, Craig. How are you?
Hi, Bonnie. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
This has been wonderful. I'm really proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
You noticed
all of us.
There's no beard here. I know.
I only got to look at you for like a half a second. I had to run over here to the camera, but I was like, woohoo, look at Craig.
Yeah, I had to shave it off for COVID because wearing the N95 mask, I can't go with the beard. Tiffany looks great.
Doesn't she?
Oh my God,
She's
it's
amazing.
wonderful. I'm so proud of her.
She is amazing.
Good. Good. So what am I going to see that tells me that I'm ready I should start talking?
Well, right now, because we have people that are watching the show.
Awesome. So I should start and introduce myself.
Please do. We would love to hear all about you and all about the Shaken Baby Alliance and all of those issues. And our crowd is very quickly returning.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Well, hi. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Craig Futterman. I am a pediatric intensive care doctor, and I've been involved with the Shaken Baby Alliance for quite a while now. And it has been, I'll just start out by saying it's been a privilege to be involved with Bonnie and the Alliance. I will tell you that my involvement with Shaken Baby Syndrome, which is sometimes now called abusive head trauma, goes back to before history. It seems like it was a long time ago. So I graduated medical school almost 40 years ago, and it was in 1981 in the fall, and I had just graduated medical school, and I was a pediatric resident, meaning I was training to be a pediatrician. And I spent various rotations in various parts of the hospital learning the various specialties. So I was in the emergency department. It was in the fall, so I'd only been a doctor for a few months. And I was in the emergency department, and a child came in with a broken femur, which is the big bone in the leg between the knee and the hip. And I looked at the kid, and being an obsessive compulsive intern, I examined the child from top to bottom, and I also noted that there were retinal hemorrhages, which is bleeds in the back of the eye. And I told my senior resident that I had seen this, and he says, well, we'll make an appointment with the ophthalmologist. Let's get his leg patched up and get him home. Not knowing that what I had seen was an abused child. Back in 1981, not many people knew what this was. And so years later, I was a fellow in pediatric critical care at Boston Children's Hospital, and we had a patient who had Shaken Baby Syndrome. And I thought back to 4 or 5 years earlier, and I went, oh my God, we just sent a child home who had been abused. And I didn't know whether that child was even alive still, because it was in another city and many years later. And so I became very attuned to that, because I realized that I had missed something that people really didn't know much about at the time, and probably, to be perfectly honest, didn't care that much as well. So fast forward to me being a pediatric intensive care doctor in the Washington, D.C. area where I am now. And I and my colleagues in the PICU, the pediatric ICU, started to recognize that there were children coming into the ICU with injuries that seemed out of proportion to what was reported. And one of the things that I learned to do very quickly is to look in the back of the eyes with an ophthalmoscope and look for retinal hemorrhages. And my colleagues and I found quite a few. But the ignorance back then was, to me, amazing, that people didn't know what it was and didn't understand the severity of what has to happen to a child before they can have that injury. You know, gently tossing a child up in the air and playful is not going to do that. So I ended up really digging down and learning a lot about this, and I became the regional expert in shaken baby syndrome and would go to court quite a bit for the legal professionals to try to help get these perpetrators literally off the street and out of the hands and get children out of their hands. It was amazing to me that back then, a lot more than now, but I still think that it is the same to a small degree, is that children are really considered property. The maximum penalty, I remember the maximum penalty for felony child abuse was in Northern Virginia, where I was at the time, 5 years. And for felony car theft, it was 10. And that tells you something about the attitude of society towards children and when adults, parents or otherwise, abuse their children. Well, that got my blood boiling quite a bit. And I learned a lot. And then through a fellow pediatric intensive care doctor, Tom Nakagawa, I got involved with Bonnie and her organization. And I learned a lot, and I hope I helped a lot in terms of what was needed to better understand this disease and better combat it and make people aware. And watching Bonnie educate people and her tremendous organizational skills, I realized that what she was doing and what the Alliance was doing was making people aware, having them understand, and by doing that, they're saving lives. Because if they are aware, people can be educated about it. Families can be educated when the babies are born not to shake their babies and to understand what shaking actually means. And sometimes it's not just shaking, as many of you know. Sometimes it's shaking and beating or shaking and slamming the child against something. And that's a horrible thing to even think about. I had one patient who had a terrible brain injury and massive skull fractures. And we took the child down for a special test to help us determine whether or not the child was actually brain dead. And the child, in fact, was. And I was escorting the baby back up to the ICU after doing this nuclear medicine test. And I told the mom what we found and that the child was dead. And the mom looked at me and said, "I'm in trouble, aren't I?" Because nobody had suspected her. But in fact, what she had done is she had taken the baby, and please forgive me for saying this because this is hard to understand and hard to listen to, is that she'd taken the baby and swung the child by the feet, and the head hit a massive hole and caused that kind of injury. And that's a terrible, terrible thing. And the child, of course, being brain dead, was dead. And we had to take this forward and make sure that this kind of thing didn't happen again. Because we do know that parents, babysitters, other people, caregivers of any kind, who do this once will probably do it more than once. And so that needs to be stopped. And the first way you stop that is awareness and education. And that's what the Shaken Baby Alliance has done. I've spent a lot of time teaching medical professionals and legal professionals what this is. And Bonnie has set up tremendous amounts of education over the years to do that. And she's done it on a shoestring budget. She was just very amazing to me how she can carry all these things out, do fundraising, do the teaching, do the organization. And she's done a wonderful, wonderful job. So for me, the Shaken Baby Alliance has made a difference. I know it has saved lives. I know that it has taken people off the street who are hurting children. And I know that it has comforted and helped families whose children have either died or been severely injured or even marginally injured. And when they're babies, we can't tell whether this injury, if it's not terribly severe, we can't tell whether this injury will cause a few or more than a few IQ points or cause the child to have attention deficit disorder or memory issues or emotional disabilities or other neurological injuries. So these things are important, and I beg everybody who's watching to donate money to this alliance. We're less than $250 now from $12,000 goal, and I would ask that everybody just blow that goal away and continue to give. And Bonnie, it was great to see you on this telethon and to see Tiffany. I haven't seen Tiffany in a very long time, and she looks awesome. I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of her, and I'm proud of the alliance. I guess that's about it.
Well, you're awesome, Craig. Thank you so much for being here. And we're going to turn it over to Bonnie when she gets back here in just a second. But we'll thank you so much for your time, Craig, and thank you so much for all you do for such an important cause. Thank you.
It is absolutely my pleasure. And Bonnie, you haven't aged a day in a long time. You look great.
Thank you.
We're going to let him leave on that note. Wasn't that incredibly nice of him, Bonnie?
It was.
Although I will say that in the 3 months or whatever it is since I've known you, you also have not aged a day.
You don't see me in the morning.
Well, we're looking to see, we might have a musician coming back. But as of right now, we've got our nice crowd of folks, and they're excited to hear from you.
Well, great. I guess what I would like to do is take this time that I have with you right now to say thank you. The list is long, and I know it gets rather boring hearing name after name after name, but these names are important. So I hope that you will indulge me and let me thank everyone. And I know that I'm going to miss someone, and I'm going to regret that, and I'll bop myself later. I'll just be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. But Sean, actually, I'd like to say thank you to you. You've tolerated us. You put up with our million questions, our nervousness, and in the end, this turned out to be such a fun day. And I hope those of you who are watching us online really had a good time. And as you're sitting there right now and thinking about next year, help us think of people that we can invite so we can just keep making this telethon better and better and better. Because I think even when we get back to our quote unquote normal life, I think that this is a good venue that we can use, and we can combine it with some live events and have a really outstanding fundraiser for the Shaken Baby Alliance. I'd also like to thank my staff. We have they said it before, we have one full-time person, and that's me. But we also have a lot of part-time people, and they work way more hours than part-time hours, and dedicate a lot of their time and energy to the Shaken Baby Alliance. So Brenda, Maribel, Ron, Margaret, and Corinne, I really appreciate everything that y'all do. And I probably don't say it near enough, but we all are a team, and I love working together. And Mackenzie's no longer with us, but if you're out there, Mackenzie, we're really proud of you for going on and getting the full-time job that you got, but we miss you terribly. Those of you who spent time online today and spoke to people on behalf of the Shaken Baby Alliance, I sure do appreciate you. Rob Parrish, you're my hero. You always will be. Emma Hinckley, Rob Hinkle, and I think that Sean did a really good job of putting Rob Parrish right before Emma Hinckley and Rob Hinkle. That was pretty cool. Dr. Downs, you are another one of my heroes. You have explained things to me so that even this kindergarten teacher can understand what's going on, and I appreciate that. Sheriff Bill Wayburn, you and your wife are just the epitome of the type of person that we all strive to be. You have adopted 8 children, and I know that many of those children struggle with a lot of different learning disabilities and issues, and you have just put your heart and soul, and I guess you put your money where your mouth is, and you do put children first, and that is so very true. We appreciate you being a part of the Shaken Baby Alliance and serving on our board. Dan Solomon, Chanley Painter, Caleb Alexander, Ted Rowlands, Dave Engel, Ruth Buzzy, Leah Thompson, Kate Delaney, and all of your wonderful guests. That was awesome. Chris Bradshaw, Randall Thompson, Amy Marie, The Follow, Tony Mosley. None of us are ever going to forget how to tighten a motorcycle chain and the importance of that, and that it shouldn't really be all that tight. I did not actually know that, even though I've hung around with you all these years. Next year, maybe you could tell the generator story. Well, maybe we don't have enough time for that, but we'll see. Meredith Musgrove, David Castor, and Trey. Not only did you do a cooking demonstration, but you showed everyone Trey and the wonderfulness that he is. Trey is one of my favorite guys in the whole wide world. And I think I'm his second favorite woman in the world, well, probably third after his mother and probably after maybe a singer or two. But Dr. Futterman, thank you so much. You've been with us for so many years, and we appreciate everything that you've done over the years, not only for our children, but for the Shaken Baby Alliance. And we know that you're in that fight every day, right there in the ICU with those kids and with their parents, and showing them the compassion and the love and the concern and helping them get the support that they need. So we really appreciate that. Our family members, it is so hard to share a part of yourself. We had some family members that had planned to speak today, and just because the emotion of it, canceled at the last minute. And you know, they've texted me and said, "I'm so sorry." Don't be sorry. We completely understand, and we know you're watching, and we appreciate that you're here. And we know this is emotional. We know it's very, very hard. Your children mean the world to us, and everything that we do in honor of our children. So, you know, you're honoring them by being a part of their lives and taking such good care of them. So those families who did step up and talk, Stephanie and Richard Nibbs, appreciate you guys so much. The Coiner family, I haven't seen you in years, but it was so wonderful seeing you today. My family, my children, Tiffany, Tyler, and Kayla, and Carrie Ann, she's like my other girl. You know, I know that was a hard thing for my kids to do. And I asked them several months ago if they'd be willing to do it. And without hesitation, they said yes. And I think hearing, you know, from siblings is really, really important, because this doesn't just impact the child that's injured. It impacts the whole family. And even though Tyler and Kayla weren't born before Tiffany was injured, they've had to live with this their whole life. And Tiffany always had to be first, and they always had to be second. And it's, you know, one person said to me one time, "That's a character builder." And my kids are true characters for sure. And they both have grown up to be wonderful, wonderful people. Katie Hall, we loved seeing Caden. He's adorable. And we loved seeing the picture of Kale, and just how much your babies look so much alike. It's just incredible. And Sonny, Sam, and Cammie, thank you too for being here. It was just amazing to get to see you. And I know we get to run into each other and see each other more often probably than a lot of people, but Cammie, I'm so proud of you. And then we have the kids from the conservatory. You guys knocked it out of the park. Your music is incredible. I hope that all of you stay with music, and I hope that you continue to grow. Jenny, Theory, Jenna and Nate, Cameron and Alex, thank you. Thank you for everything that you did today. I think we got cut off just a little bit before I finished what I wanted to say earlier, but I do want to say this. I appreciate the donations that we've gotten today. I hope that we've made it to our $12,000 mark. That would be exciting for us. But those of you who have time that you can give also, we need your time. We have several things that you can do. Once a month, we do a coffee with SBA. It's done virtually online, and we literally, everybody makes herself a cup of coffee. We come and sit down at the computer, and for 40 minutes, we give you a little show of what we do and answer your questions and help you find a way to maybe dedicate some time to the Alliance. If you want to help us with fundraisers, we do a clay shoot every year. It's just tremendously fun. That day is always a blast. It's outdoors, which is always great. And for the clay shoot, we need sponsors. We need volunteers. We need teams with 4 people. And it's just a great day. Everybody leaves there with the biggest smile on their face. And you might even win a prize, because we give away lots and lots of baskets that people donate. That's another thing you can do, help us get the baskets put together. But the clay shoot's a big deal, and we really appreciate the support we get there. We also now have this as a fundraiser. We also, if you like to do public speaking or working with youth, we really need you. We are looking for ways to get education to our young people, middle school, high school, junior high, that age level. That's where we really need to talk to them about when babies cry, we cope. And how do we cope? What do we do? But ultimately, if you can't cope, you put the baby in a safe place and you walk away. And so in closing, I guess, Sean, if you're there, if you can give me a cue. Am I able to close it out now, or do I need to keep talking? And
you know what, Bonnie? I think we've had an incredible day. I think you're incredible. We've crossed the $12,000 mark. I think we've got something we can all be super proud of. And I think you should take us home, and I think we should all go get dinner.
Okay. Well, once again, thank you, everybody. I sure appreciate you being here. So we're going to sign off now, and we'll see you next year. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.